sharing. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to Interactive Sukhmani Sahib Ji Vichar session. Let's do ardas in our minds to Waheguru to give us capability to understand the Banis bestowed on us by Satguru Ji. So far, we have completed 12 Ashpadis. We are on 13th Ashpadi. Actually, we were on the last pada of 13th Ashpadi last week. So we'll continue our vichar from the 13th Ashpadi of Sukhmani Sahib Ji. To start with, I'm going to share the sloks we have done for all the 12 Ashpadis so far. And I'll recite some of them so that we can get started with our discussion. Let me share the shloks so everybody can see them too. Shri Vaheguru Sahib Ji Ad Gure Namahe Jugad Gure Namahe Sat Gure Namahe Shri Guru Dev Namahe Deen Darad Dukh Panjana Kat Kat Nath Nath शरण तुम्हारी आयो नानक के प्रभ साथ बहु शास्त्र बहु सिमृति पेखे सर्ब टंडोल पूजस नाही हर हरे नानक नाम अमोल करण कारण प्रभ एक है दूसर नाही कोई नानक तिस बल हारणै जल थल महियल सोए सुखी बसै मसकीनिया आप निवार तले बड़े बड़े अहंकारिया नानक गर्भ गले. So those are the 12 shloks we have done so far. It's very important for us to understand the essence of the Gurbani. The way Satgurujis have, there's an immense knowledge. There's a whole knowledge of everything on spirituality which has been written so far in any kind of granths. It's not just, we don't say just Purans, Ved or Simriti, Sastra, anywhere, any kind of granths. That all knowledge is really well, in a very well way it's represented, in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. So it's very important for us. It is right that yes, we do nitname and we take it that this Vaheguru mantra for us. It's very important for us to understand the meanings, the literal meanings at least, right? So that effort is so important for us as Sikhs or anybody who wants to know that a sense of that spiritual knowledge which has been there in this time by those Satgurus, the enlightened beings themselves written. It is important for us to know the meanings of this, right? We have to put that effort. And as I say, right, once you know the meanings of these, what is a literal meaning? That your inner voice, that guidance come to you about more and more deeper meanings about those, right? That knowledge keeps coming, and through sastanga, through what, through your inner, as you meditate also, right? As you do more practice, the deeper meanings, the deeper knowledge, the deeper messages keep coming. So it's important we do those efforts. And the good thing about Sukhmani Sahib Ji part is it's one of the more simplest one in the whole Guru Granth Sahib Ji. The Bani of Sukhmani Sahib Ji is one of the simplest Bani. I should say almost 80% of all the grammars and the meanings and the words which are used in all Guru Granth Sahib Ji, if you understand, make effort to understand Sukhmani Sahib Ji, you should be able to understand the rest of it very well too. Right? So I know understanding Japanese Japji Sahib is still a little bit more, there's a lot more deeper depth into it, right? Once you start doing that part, you maybe like, oh, find it more difficult. But if you take that, if you just take this Bani and try to understand literally also all the meanings and everything, it helps you to get to, the meanings of all Guru Granth Sahib Ji, to understand them as you read it. So with that, actually we left on the 13 Ashpadi. This is the notation here, as you see, it says 8 and 13. Number 8 means we are on the 8th pada. 13 means it's the 13th Ashpadi we are doing. And then this number here, 281, right? It says from 281, there's new lines. This is the first ang of um, Guru Granth Sahib Ji, on first line on that ang, on 281. Right, that's what that says. So far in 13 Ashpadi, what we have learned, it's about Satguruji is telling us about, Sant ki ninda. It says those, don't indulge in that, right? And then he tells about all. So in a way, the sense of that 13 Ashpadi so far is there are two things. One is, right, we know in those times, or in every time, the saintly people, the holy people, the people who come to represent, right, to help this world, to humanity to rise above, right, their level, and connect with that one and only. There is mostly so much against which happens for them. And from the history, our history ourselves, a lot of these padas, a lot of kathakars and those writings, they related the history of what happened in our Satguru's times too, right? There's knowns of the Pirtichan and a lot of other, so the beings who really, who slandered, who were doing nindya, talking ill of all what was going on, right? Even in going to the kings, like King Akbar, they went to and try to do the worst for the Satgurus, right? So it's more towards that also, right? And also it's also for a seeker who is on that path, to tell the seeker, right, remain on that path. There'll be obstacles, right? We are in this world. There'll be obstacles. There'll be kind of people who won't like, or who can come and tell, kind of demotivate you to not go in that path. Because for a beginning seeker, it becomes difficult, because seeker himself does not know if he's on the right path or not, right? They don't know, right, if it's right or wrong what they are doing. So don't stay on that path. The Satguru is there with you, that Akal Purakh Vaheguru is with you. Anybody who is coming in your way, this is all what happens to them, right? So there's a Sant ki ninda, Nanka Bahar Bahar Avatar. Right? So that's what so far in those padas have been, what we have been told is, those who indulge in such things, there's no good to them, right? They get punished by that one power who is there. So with that, on the 13th pada, Sab kate tiske oh karne har, Sada sada tisko namaskar, Prab ki ustat karo din raat, Tise tyavo saas giras, सब कछ वरतै तिसका किया, जैसा करे तैसा को थिया, अपना खेल आप करने हार, दूसर कौन कहे विचार, जिसनो कृपा करे तिस आपन नाम दे, वड पागी नानक जान से। सिस सब कट तिसके ओ करने हार, सदा सदा तिसको नमस्कार. So in the padas before, Satguruji is telling us on what happens, right? If you go back to this, to such people, Sant ke dokhi, what all they go through, right? Sada se kaya, they are forever keep having desires, they're just always in limbo. They're puja and asa, none of their hopes are fulfilled, right? And now he says what to do, right? He's telling us. Right? So it's a subcut tiske o karne har. So that karne har, that one and only, that creator being. Karne har is that creator being. He, that creator being. Sab kat tiske. Everything, every place, every heart belongs to him. It says all hearts are his. He is the creator, right? Everything belongs to him. He is the one and only creator. Sada sada tisko namaskar. He says, be in that state of mind where you truly, are bowing to him in his respect. Forever and ever, you are in that gratitude, right? Tisko namaskar. You're bowing to him in that reverence, that respect. Prab ki ustat karho din raat. Says that one and only God. Ustat, praise him day and night. This is so important. You know how important this is in Gurbani. Prab ki ustak karo din raat. Whole Gurbani is about this, right? To see ki kende hai, fir what do we do, right? We do naam japna. What else? What does it mean, prab ki ustat, right? It's staying in alignment with him. Praise him. You praise. You are in a state of praising him if you accept him. And how beautiful like is that mantra Vahe Guru, that has a sense of all of what Sadgurus want us to do. Always praise him. Wow, what you are doing, right? And accept him, right? That's a prabki ustat karo din raat. Tise tyavo saskaras. He says, and remember him with every breath, with every morsel of food you take. Giras khana, like grai khani, right? Every morsel of food, every breath, remember him. सब कुछ वर्तय तिसका किया. See, सब कुछ वर्तय, whatever is happening, वर्तय, वर्तना, that is तिसका किया, ओदा ही किता होया. It's all because of him. जैसा करे तैसा को थिया. Thiya becomes, happens, right? As he wills, so people become. तैसा को थिया. अपना खेल आप करने हार. Since it's all his khel, it's all his drama, his play. Aap karne har, he is doing all of this. And he is a part of that drama, right? Or drama which we karan wala vi, us drama which we he himself is there. Dusar kaun kahe bichar. Who else can say anything about it? What can you talk about it? Who can speak or contemplate, deliberate upon this? What kind of bichar you can have on? Who else can say or understand that? Jisno kripa kare, tis apan naam de. This is only those whom who has his mercy, his grace upon those. Tis apan naam de. They get his naam. They get his gurbani. They get to read, they get to know, they get, right? This Sukhmani Sukh Amrit Prabh Naam. This whole Bani is a Naam itself, right? Jisno kirpa kare tis apan naam de. It's with a great fortune, right? It's because of his mercy that we get this from him. Badpagi Nanak Jan se. And such people are very Vadpagi, very fortunate. Jan, such people, such beings. O Nanak, such beings are the most fortunate ones. And that's how he ends this 13th Ashpadi, right? And the rest of the all 7 padas is about what happens, what wrong happens to such people who are coming in the way for those who want to live their life in connection to that one Vaheguru. They have realized it and they want to stay on that path. And there are others who don't want them to, are coming in their way. It's all about what happens to them. And in 8th Pada, he's summarizing for us, right? What we should be doing. And then, of course, right, it is by his grace, it is by his kripa that we have access to all of this. What he's giving us, what Satguru's having, just an access to Satguru itself is a big thing, right? Having for somebody on the spiritual journey, the people can realize, become aware of all the realities, but they still don't have a path until they find Satguru, right? That's everywhere. It's not even just this Bani, right? Which we read. It's everywhere in Shri Guru Granth Sahib. It's everywhere in all other spiritual writings which are ever over there, right? So it says, how fortunate are such people who get access to that Naam, that beings, that Satgurus, that their Bani, right? Their efforts, their Kirtan, whatever system has been set up, right? It's a very fortunate thing to have. Right, and then in a way, don't come in the way of those who are have made that as their aim in their life, right, to follow that path. Yeah, there's a comment I see on the chat. I can just go through. So do you want me to relate this comment on this? So it says, the Kale discussion is what I used to explain that Sikhs believe life is a play by God for us to work to rejoin God. Insight into the play. Is it over generations, lifetimes? Yeah, I think I will talk about it as we go through this. But it's always the whole Bani itself says, the Kale itself is a generation scale, right? And then it says that if you just try to relate, apna khel aap karne ha, right? Of course, it is in a way telling us it is his drama itself. We are in that drama, but Gurbani tells us we are in that drama, but then we have that key also that we can go out of that drama and merge with him, right? So, and that drama is the lifetime's drama. It's very simple form. It's written there, that, right, janam janam de, the reincarnations is everywhere there. So let's move on to this next Ashpadi. It's actually it's the padas over here have a lot of answers, then the like previous ones we were going through is trying to tell us this is what happens and all, but I like going through. There's a lot of answers which become clear as you go through this Ashpadi. So let's start this one. Slok Tajo Syanap Surjano Simraho Har Har Rai एक आस हर मन रखो नानक दुख परम पाओ जाए. Says Tajo Syanap Sur Janho. Tajo means give up. Syanap, your cleverness. What you think is you are very wise. Sur Jano. Sur is for angels, right? Devte. Devte sur kende na. Devte angels. Says, oh, great beings, great people, angel beings, you think you have as much wisdom as a very you're very wise like an angel surge, and you have all the cleverness. He says, you know what, give up that cleverness. Simro har rai. Instead, remember that Vaheguru. Because he's so many places he's saying that, how much clever you are, not clever, even if you have how much knowledge you have, but that uh, God, the David describes as the alak, you cannot, unfathomable, no, you cannot describe him, right? It's beyond description. So simro har rai, just remember that one and only God, that har ek aas man rak har man rakho. Have that one hope on that hari, that her, that one God. This way, dukh param, all your sorrows, and your param, your doubts, jai, param, doubts, pau, your fear, they will all depart, they will all go away. If you keep your hopes, all your hopes on that one and only God, and it's not easy to truly do that, because we haven't realized, we haven't seen it, we haven't experienced it, right? So our hopes become on this person, that person, and all, right? It's inside, internally, we never, it's very rare to get to that stage, uh, right? That you truly actually put all your hopes to that one Vaheguru, right? Just Ashpati मानक की टेक बृथि सब जान देवन को एक भगवान जिसके दिए रहे अघाए बोहर न तृष्णा लागे आए मारे राखे एको आप मानक कै किछ नाही हाथ तिसका हुक्म बूझ सुख होए तिसका नाम रख कंठ परोए सिमर 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 प्रभ सोए नानक बिघन न लागे कोई. So how beautifully is telling us the way of life now. What to do. It says, Manak ki take birthi sab jan. Birthi is of no use. It's all in vain. Take is the support, the hopes. Putting your hopes and asking for the support of another human being, it's all in vain. He says that's not, that doesn't even go in, it's not in sync with what your life is worth for. It says, Manak ki take prithvi sabjan. You relying on another human being is not what you yourself are very capable. You have your connection with that one and only God, right? He says, Devan ko ek Bhagwan. Then he's trying to have that really to our inner core. He's trying to tell us to understand that Devan ko ek Bhagwan, that Devan den wala, the giver, all the givings, there are givings den wala hai. The great giver is only that one and only God. It's finally in his hands. Jiske diye rahe aghai, and by what he gives, you will be always satisfied. And this is forever, everywhere in Gurbani, right? Like it says, why do you waste time? Why don't you have that faith in that Vaheguru, that he will give you what you want, right? Jiske diye rahe aghai, by his gifts we remain satisfied. Bahar na trishna lage aaye. He gives you so much once you start putting all your faith and hopes on him. Bahar na trishna lage aaye. He gives you so much that You are never going to be trishna. Bohar is again that trishna, that desire, that thirst of that, those things won't even come to you. You'll be so full with them. He's actually saying that. He's actually saying that he will give you so much that you'll feel so full with them. He's not saying कि वो bandi kar dega ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਤ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਨਾ, right? I mean, that's the other part of the Sukhmani Sahib. It's always saying you that you need those worldly needs also, and those what you need will be given to you. But your focus has to be to be in alignment with Vaheguru, right? And then all your needs will be satisfied. Even more you will get, right? It says nonid, right? Siddhya nidhya, everything will come to you. It says mare rakhe eko aap manak kya kich nahi hath. It says mare rakhe is again trying to have that जो दृढ़ करना होता है ना, like they want to root uh, this deeply inside us, that right, have that faith to that Vaheguru. He is the one who is maran wala, destroy karan wala, rakhan wala, to support and preserve you, or whoever. Manak kya kich nahi hai. This is those people, those mortal beings. Manak kya kich nahi hai. Their hands, there's nothing. Don't go ask. Don't think, oh, that person is a power, this person is power, and you waste um, your precious life just going through that sufferings because you're asking and you're relying on them as your main purpose, right? That's what your day and night goes in, just thinking what how to sustain you through somebody else. Tiska hukum booj sukh hoye, tiska naam rak kant proises. Also, tiska hukum booj. See, all over here, he's saying that stay in his hukum. But then Sadhguru is saying, now, if you are able to understand his hukum, then of course you will get all the sukh, all the peace, all the comforts. That's you have to understand his hukum. Tiska hukum booj sukh hoye, and how, and that's what it is, right? That's all what Gurbani Sadhguru ji tell us, right, in all these writings. Tiska naam rakh kant paroe. This is always rakh kant proe, kant in your neck, right? Like in take his name. Proe means you just put it in the form of necklace, like pro dena kisi no. So he says take his name and wear it as your necklace around your neck. Right? Simar 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 prabh soe. So the Sukhmani Sahib ji starts with the first whole pada is about the whole Ashtapadi. Simar, simar, simar prapsoi. It says, remember that Vaheguru. Always. Simar, simar prapsoi. That God, that one and only being. Nanak bighan na lage koi. And then you will never find any obstacle coming in your way. Bighan is the obstacle, right? Nanak, oh Nanak, then no obstacle will come in your way. So again keep. So it's the same kind of message there, right, on what to do and what are the benefits of that. Now, ustat man mein hai kar nirankar, kar man mere sat vyohar, nirmal rasna amrit piyo, sada suhela kar leh jiyo. नैनो पेख ठाकुर का रंग, साध संग बिन सै सब संग, चरण चलो मार्ग गोबिंद, मिटहि पाप जपिय हर बिंद, कर हर कर्म श्रवण हर कथा, हर दरगह नानक उजल मथा. So, ustat man mein kar nirankar, kar man mere sat vyavhar. In your mind, ustat. praise in your mind that Nirankar without any form, that formless God. In many ways, Gurbani says that, and Sadhguru, and then we get this Vaheguru mantra, right? It's all the same, just fixing your inner core, inner vibes all the time to that praise, right? Ustat man mein karan nirankar, kar man mere sat vyavhar. It brings acceptance to you, and it brings you that understanding of the hukam also. You start to see what's happening when you are in that acceptance, in that praise. Right? Ustat man mein kar nirankar, kar man mere sat vyavhar. Oh my mind, do vyavhar is um, what kind of, what things do you do, right? It says occupation, right? It's what do you do, your doings, make them true, in alignment with that truth. Nirmal rasna amrit piyo, sada suhela kar le jiyo. Rasna is a tongue. He says nirmal, purify your tongue by drinking in that ambrosial nectar, amrit. What? How will you purify your tongue? By reciting the name, by saying the same thing Satguruji is their Bani. It says that what makes your tongue pure, as if it's drinking the ambrosial nectar. Sada suhela karle jiyo. And this way, suhela, always beautiful, peaceful, bliss. Right? Sada suhela karle jiyo. This way, by doing this, it's like the dehe, that human body becomes very important here, right? Use that human body, use what you have, and then your soul becomes peaceful. Your geo inside, make it peaceful and at rest. Nano pek thakur ka rang, sad sang bin se sab sang. Nano, in with your eyes, say those wondrous plays of Vaheguru. Thakur ka rang, de rang, which ki ho raha hai, right? Sad sang bin se sab sang. It is go be in the company of the holy saints. Yes. Jinna milya tera naam chitave, right? Say pyare male, right? Sad sang, bin se sab sang. This is all kind of other associations which just take you away from your, that it says mukti mil jana, right? From all of that bonds, which are the bonds of Maya, of Karam, or whatever, that kind of sang will binas jana, will get destroyed, will not be there anymore once you start being in the company of those who are connected to Vaheguru. Then that just vanished by itself. Charan chalo marag gobind, mitahe paap japiye harbind. So important, he's telling us, go walk with your feet towards the path of Vaheguru. He's not, right? We keep saying, right? He's asking us, he's prodding us, right? Uddam karna, like you have to do it. You have to yourself with your feet, you have to walk the path of Vaheguru. Mite paap japiye har bind. Then he's telling what happens in that path of Vaheguru. Bind means a moment. Japiya means recite, even for a moment. What happens? Then I know Govindaji keeps giving that the Christian, that faith, right? What they think, the sins which are with you, which you born with, karam jinu keh lo, kuch bhi keh do, paap keh lo, then they sab mit jande hain. That is a Sikhi way. You're here to remove all of those from you, right? That's a way when you find a Satguru in your life. Then you are on a path where you are just having them, washing them away now, right? Mitahe paap japiye har bind. Even for a moment, if you take that Vaheguru's name. Kar har karam, sravan har katha. With your hands, do the work for that Vaheguru. Sravan har katha, with your ears, listen about him. So it's telling the whole body how it is, the human body, right? So it starts with surjano. It says you think yourself, right, as wise as and angels, you have all wisdom, but this is how you have to make use of your body in this human. This is why this is given to you. Kar har karam sarvan har katha. Do the do those efforts, those deeds which are in alignment with that Vahiguru. Sravan har katha. Sravan is listening to his sermons. Har dargah nanak ujjal matha. Says that's how your matha, your face. Matha is actually the literal translation is a forehead, right? This is how you become known. You radiate. You are, become present in that presence of that. Her dargah is what? What is her dargah? It's a presence. It's Vahiguru's presence. You are a part of dargah ki hui. Jithe tonu mil gaya Vahiguru. You are in that presence of that one and only God. You are in his court. You are with him present over there. Right? That's how you become radiant in his presence, in his court. We should yeah. Any comments, please? Any questions? Anybody wants to add something so far? I think Pagatji, I saw
Leah ji, in the
some
last,
comments from you. If you want to say something, Pagat Param Singh ji, and I see some comments from Kulinda Singh ji also. Okay, I can read what is there. I think there is a comment from Govinda ji on hukam has to be accepted. Right. I think that's very simply written. It's everywhere. Hukam has to be accepted. I think the question is knowing. Hukam has to be known first. Right? Uthi aake banda ruk janda hai na ki first give me the avastha to understand the hukam and then I will accept the hukam, right? वो भी हो जाता है because the Satguru ji is telling us, right? Lage answai, how do you know you are answai or you are on the same path as the hukam, right? Jab pana manna, of course, is right, but that's how you become close to Vaheguru through uh, the Bani, through your practices, through your faith, right? And then things start becoming in hukam for you. Right? You have to do that path. Charan chalo marar Gobind. You start going that path, and then that path also becomes shorter for you, right? It is Satguru comes to take you, right? To make that path even shorter for you, right? But you have to do that effort, and then you start understanding.
Leah ji, I
Okay,
think
I'll move on.
this statement can
बद
tell.
पागी ते जन जग माहे सदा सदा हार के गुण गाहे राम नाम जो कर है विचार से तनवंत गनी संसार मन तन मुख बोल है हर मुखी सदा सदा जानो ते सुखी एको एक एक पछाने इत उत की ओह सोची जाने नाम संग जिसका मन मानिया नानक तिन्हें निरंजन जानिया. This again, he's saying Vadpagi te jan jag mahi in this jug, in this world. Vadpagi te jan, those beings are fortunate. Vadpagi sada sada har ke gun gahe. Those sada sada forever gun gahe, singing the praises of Vaheguru. Why? Because Of course, those are the beings who have realized, they have come to the conclusion in their life that that is the most important thing for them. And if they are already doing that, he says, oh, those are the ones who are fortunate ones, right? And that's what Sadhguru's Nanak mantra is, right, to everyone. That's a way to life. It says, be in alignment with the Vaheguru, and everything else will get resolved. Right? That there's a mool mantra, Ikunkar Satnam Kartapurak Nirpao Nirvair Kalmudat Ajuni Sep Gur Prasad. And there's a mantra, Vaheguru, right? There's a lot of depth to these whys, right? Why those are there. So Ram Naam Jo Kahe Bichar Se Tanvant Gani Sansar. Ram Naam, the Vaheguru's name, that God's name, Jo Karhe Bichar. Those who try to do bichar, try to understand that. Those who dwell upon that. Se Tanvant Gani Sansar. Gani is counted. They are the ones who are counted as the most wealthiest in this world. Man tan mukh bole har mukhi. This in their mind and their body, their mouth, they speak of that Vaheguru. Right? Mukhi means the supreme. Right? Sada sada jano te sukhi. Think of them as forever and forever. Jano, consider them as happy and peaceful. Eko ek pachane. It utki o soji jane. So now, eko ek pachane says that one and only one. Pachane, they recognize. They have recognized that one and only Vaheguru. And that is what all they do. After that, is what says they are the ones who have recognized that one and only Vaheguru. And then what? It utki oh soji jane. Soji suj jana, right? You understand it very well. Suj gaya, soji pa gayi hai, right? It utki, of the all realms, this realm, that realm, whatever is there, here and beyond, they have that understanding. They have known, they have recognized that one and that divine being, and they understand what is this world, what is next world. Naam sang jiska man mania, Nanak tinhe niranjan janya. Also, then he's giving this clue, right? If your mind is accepting that Naam, if your mind has accepted that company of Naam, Nanak tinhe niranjan janya, then you are there on that path to know that one and only God. What does it mean? Naam sang jinka man mania ki hoya, right? Do you, when you sit to listen to Naam, to any form of that spiritual, right, that Gurbani, Kirtan, and if je udich anand aa gaya na, je man gaya, the mind has accepted, that means you are on the path, right? There's something which is trying to align you over there, right? It says Nanak tinhe niranjan janya. Says then, oh Nanak, such is the being who knows that immaculate God, because inside you know it, and that's where you're sitting and accepting and trying to understand it, right? Tayo ananda arena, that's why you're trying to merge with it. Any questions, comments, as we move? Guru Prasad apan aap sujai, तिसकी जान हो तृष्णा बुझै, संग हर हर जस कहत, सरब रोग ते ओहो हर जन रहत, अन दिन कीर्तन केवल बख्यान, गृहसत में सोई निर्वाण, एक ऊपर जिस जन की आशा, तिसकी कटिया जम की फासा, पार ब्रह्म की जिस मन भूख, नानक तिसह न लागे दुख. This गुर प्रसाद आपन आप सुझै, तिसकी जानो तृष्णा बुझै. This by Guru's grace. Apan aap sujhe. We as human beings understand our own existence. We find out our own self. This one understands himself. This how by Guru's prasad, by Guru's grace, by Guru's knowledge, all the spiritual knowledge the Guru is there to give you, to tell you, that helps you understand yourself. Tiski jano tisna bujhe. And if you have come, if you have understood your inner self, your root of your existence, why? Tiski jano tisna bujhe, then all your trisna, your desires, bujhe, they all just go away. Thirst is quenched, it says, right? Sariyan bujh jandiyan sariyan trisna. Right? Once you have known yourself, once you know how capable you are, once you know your existence, once you know that Vaheguru is with you, right? You are a part of his creation. He's there always supporting. Then he says, Tiski jano tisna bhujai. Sad sang har jas kahet. Says, then what? In the company of the holy saints, then you find the company alike. And then you praise that Vaheguru. Har jas kahet. Sarab rog te o har jan rahet. So such beings who do that. Sarab rog te o har jan rahet. Such people, they get free of all the diseases, all rogues, all ailments. They are free from them. Andin kirtan keval bakhyan, grasat me soe nirvan. Says day and night, they are in that kirtan, the praising of Vaheguru. Kirtan karna, kirti karni, right? Of the fame, right? Kirtan keval bakhyan, grasat me soe nirvan. Says, if you just do this, then even living within your household, nirban, that's a big word. It's nirban is in salvation you are living, right? Nirvana, nirban, right? He says you get that salvation, you remain in that salvation state, in that nirvana within the household. How? By doing that praises, that connection to Vaheguru, by singing. Those are the ways we have been told, right? That's the uniqueness of Sikhi, right? Ek upar jis jan ki asa. And to this one, right? Andin keval kirtan keval bakhyan, right? We don't realize this, but that's how we are born, right? Every important part of our life is connected with the kirtan too. We are born with, like, in our all functions, all happiness, right? All the main uh, progress in our lifetime is accompanied by that blessings of kirtan, right? That's our ways which have been told, right? Ek upar jis jan ki asa. Says now, he says those who place their hope in that one and only God. Tiski katiya jam ki fasa, right? That news, that Yama's news of death, fasa, the fancy jari hundi hai, right? That noose around your neck, cut jandi hai, that cut away. ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਯਾਮਾ ਦੀ ਜਮ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਫਾਂਸੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕੱਟ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਪਾਰ ਬ੍ਰਹਮ ਕੀ ਜਿਸ ਮਨ ਭੂਖ if your mind starts to hunger for that Vaheguru, Nanak tise na lage dukh. He says, Such people, they don't suffer in pain. That should be that should be your true desire of your mind. That's how you have to guide your mind to desire for that one Vaheguru. And then everything else comes, right? And then it says, Tise na lage dukh, and they don't suffer in pain. So I see a very good discussion from Kavinder ji and Bhagat Param Singh ji. It will be really nice if you can comment some of it, I think, for the rest of the Sangad. Bhagat Param Singh ji, do you want to say something, or you just want us to read through this?
I think it's a lot. Sorry. But I think two padas before it was talking about the acceptance and how all the way long this acceptance is leading to santok, isn't so? So, and this possibility to accept the nam. So is, you talked about accepting while we are in the kirtan or listening to some kata, or but the fact is that the nam is happening all the time, isn't so? So, and it's the medicine is this choice of connecting to the nam or to resistance, and this is the real medicine by the Sakhi of Paimaniji. I think this is the name of being cutted. He was being hurted, but this choice of connecting to the nam is what suppress the suffering, you know. And yes, and I told in this conversation that the Christians, they say this expression of you have to accept Jesus in your heart, but they don't go. Most of them they don't go beyond the the form, the man Jesus or the historic man, but instead of realizing that we have to accept the nam, the love, the hukam, the reality as it is. So this is my uh, how I perceive things.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you.
sharing.
Very, very nice, Anji. I think, yeah, when we talk about Kirtan and all, we just give examples of we do it sometimes, but whenever in Gurbani, it's always written andin, always, like you said. He asks us to have that naam inside us always. And I really like the way you said about connecting to naam or connecting to resistance, right? I mean, that's your choice. And that's what Sadhguruji is telling us, to connect to that naam, that acceptance, not to that resistance, right? So thank you, Ji. Anybody else?
Liaji, I think the other way of looking at it, although in like Christians they talk about Jesus, and in Muslims they talk about Allah. I think we as human beings we all get stuck with the messenger as being the source, whereas Bobby is saying it, he's connecting to the creator. So even Jesus, when he's saying about, I think he's not talking about connect to me. He's just saying connect to the creator. Same thing with the Muslims. They are Muhammad is not saying to connect to me, but connect to the creator. But people in the mind think, okay, well, I think he's mentioning or perceiving to be saying to connect to me. The messenger becomes the source of focus instead of the creator. So the creator is the one that is beyond our thinking, our vision, our capabilities. So it's easier for us to kind of go in that format. But the resistance is another way of resistance to, if you accept the creation or the creator, you will have to overcome the resistance internally that we all have, saying, look, I am trying to reach where I don't know how and where because you're beyond my five senses. But with your kindness, Babaji, help us to connect wherever that's supposed to be. I'll leave it in the open universe, and then you know, kind of go in that way. That's the other way of looking at it.
Nice, Anji. I think that in every religion, the core of their knowledge, they have the same message. It depends how old the religion has been and who else has put what translations to it. Right, like you said, um, I have read the translations of Bible or of Quran and all. I find it depends on who has translated, right? Have they tried to? But if you see what they say, like you said, right, it all means the same thing. That having this whole religion formed is a big thing by itself, right? It's not from the originality of when it was formed. It's later on what had happened, what happened to their messages and all. And then I think in still one good thing all the religions they do try to do, that there's all goodness in there. They have their own ways of practices which are very relevant for um, where the people who have accepted that, right? Everybody has their own way of practices, they talk about it. And the best thing I found about reading Guru Granth Sahib Ji is it's so it's put it in such a straight, it has a sense of almost everything in the most modern form and in a very logical way. There is no it's very difficult for you to try to relate it to forms and things, right? That becomes easier, right, for us because it's directly written also for that purpose. That's okay. So we have few minutes, we can try to read this pada also. जिसको हर प्रभ मन चित आवे, सो संत सुहेला नहीं डुलावे। जिस प्रभ अपना कृपा करे, सो सेवक कहो किसते डरै। जैसा सा तैसा दृष्टाया, अपने कारज में आप समाया। शोधत 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 सींचया, गुर प्रसाद तत सब भुजया। जब देखो तब सब किछु मूल, नानक सो सूखम सोई अस थूल। जिसको हर प्रभ मन चित आवे, सो संत सुहेला नहीं टुलावे। So such beings who in their mind, in their conscious mind, they focus on Vaheguru and that one God. They are like the saints, Suhela. They're like saints in Suhela, in all in peace. And they do not dolde nahi hai, they do not waver. जिस प्रभ अपना कृपा करे, so sevak kaho kiste डरे. This is that Vaheguru, if there's his mercy, his grace, then the devotees, they don't have to fear from anybody. So sevak ko kiste डरे. This is that great creator being, that Vaheguru. If he is granting his grace to them, is bringing them close to them, right? Then why should those devotees even fear of anything? Ko kiste डरे. Who else can they fear of? जैसा सा तैसा दृष्टाया, अपने कारज में आप समाया. To them, to such beings, those जिनके this who have understood Vaheguru, to them, jaisa sa taisa distaya, however that Vaheguru is, they just see him, they appear to them as it is. They see them as it is. Apne karaj mein aap samaya. He says in that Vaheguru, in his own creation, he's always pervading, he's always there. Sodhat, sodhat, sodhat sijya. Sodhat is keep searching, keep staying on that path. Such beings, they keep searching for them and then they become successful. Gur Prasad Tat Sab Puja, and by Guru's guidance, again by the knowledge from the spiritual knowledge from the Guru, they understood the whole essence. Tat Sab Bhujya Bhujlya. They understood the essence of everything. So this is a lot of effort, right? It's a practice. It's searching itself, right? It says after doing all that search findings, right, then finally they become successful by Guru's grace, by that knowledge and wisdom from them. They actually understood the whole essence, and they are able to see that Vaheguru as he is. They have been given that blessing to see him, right? Hukam bujlana, they can understand that hukam too. Jab dekho tab sab kich mool, nanak so sukham soyasthul. Says wherever I look, mool is the root, at the root of everything. Wherever I look, at the root of everything, I see that Vaheguru. I see that one and only divine fall behind everything, right? At the root of everything. Nanak so sukham soyastu. He's the one who is that tiny little unknown, unseen thing, sukham. And he's the one who's a stool, like the big thing you can see. He says he's the subtle and he's the manifest, he's nirgun, sargun, whichever you say it, but literally he says he's that unseen thing, he's there, and he's the one who is manifested himself in everything you can see, right? So anything, and so far, any more additions? Anybody wants to say anything or ask any questions?
Lenaji, I think in one of the earlier paragraphs, Patas, you were mentioning about where Babaji is saying कि अगर तुसी रब नु एक बारी भी याद कीता या ध्यान कीता, then all your accounts are kind of cleared up. You know, there's nothing left behind. Uh,
Hanji,
Maybe you want to shed a little bit more light in
Hanji.
how is Babaji saying that in one context, in what context is that should be taken, so that at least banda us dhyan naal, us pyar naal Baba ji रहमत ले सके कि नाम ले सके.
See, Charan chalo marat gobind, mite paap japiye har bind. Says ik khin vaste vi, if you come in what in connection to that presence or to the Satguru, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਮੱਥਾ ਟੇਕ ਲਿਆ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕੰਮ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ. That's all what it is saying, right? Even for
जी.
one instant you have that glimpse of that connection of Vaheguru in a true sense, knowing or unknowing, you are aware of it or you are not aware of it, right? Not aware vaste that we just like we all go, we do we read Bani, Gurbani, we listen, we do Matha Tekna, but it's actually telling us a secret that by doing that, you're actually washing away your sins. You're not aware of it. And there are those things also happen, right? Being aware, having that glimpse of that Vaheguru. And, you know, there are states in our life, right? There's either those who practice meditation, or there are other states like by when bahut dukh aa janda hai ya kuch hunda hai, right? Then you get those kind of realizations. Then you oh cheez yaad aandi hai, right? You remember you're in, you know, you remember that kind of presence of such people or presence of Gurbani or some Gurdwara or something, right? That comes to you because that's embedded in your inner consciousness. That's what it actually, what simply it just says that as a purpose of this life, you are to be merged with that Vaheguru, right? And it's then that's why they say in the Sikhi way of life, we are born so fortunate that in all our we have that in our uh, routine, right? That Satguru's presence in our whole Sikhi way itself, that's there. So
But
that's
like you
what it
mentioned,
says.
even if one is able to connect for a moment, but is the capacity to connect even for a moment, is that in our hands or that's only a grace? Because
it
the way
says
I
tell
understand
you
is Bhavani
do it.
Grace.
No, no, he says do it. All everywhere in this whole Ashtapadi, Charan chalo, he says go do it. Walk, uddam karo. That capacity, it's not saying that for that I don't know why this a lot of people ask, right? So is it like there's something is going to happen by miracle and then we will start hearing some words in our ears? That's not what it is. What it means, it just means
I
go start practicing, right? So Hanji.
I think you just need to understand. Sometimes it says do it for a moment, and sometimes it says day and night. So
No, it says that, no, it says even when you have done it for a moment, you don't know that there's a already a fruit of it coming to you. That's what it is saying. Also, what that all of this spirituality, this reading says, right? As your current existence, you don't know what all is happening spiritually to you, and that can be all wrong happening to you, and you don't know you did right. Once you become aware of that, right, or ਜਿਹੜੇ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ हैं, right, Sid Sadik and all, right, once you become aware of what are the forces pulling you, what is happening, what is it which is uh, making you do things, right? And now they are saying even if you chant Vaheguru's Naam for an instant, that has a chance of improving you without you even knowing, if you are not, if you haven't realized that. So actually it means what it says. It says ਇੱਕ ਛਿਨ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਨਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਬੜੇ ਪਾਪ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਗਏ हैं. But you can do even more. You have to do, if you want to go realize it with full awareness and understand it too, then do this. Then you just remain in that state forever, for always.
yes. Okay. Thank you, Lina ji.
Hanji. Thank you, Ji. Vaj Khalsa Ji Fateh. Thank you.
Shata Vajipati.